Hello everyone and welcome, I am Brickerboom, and after a long while of waiting, I am finally able to get another Eeveelution run up and running. Today, we're gonna see if I can beat the game Pokemon FireRed with a single Glaceon. For these particular runs, while the game is still by all technicalities Pokemon FireRed, we did have to set up a randomizer file to make it happen. I made sure not to change any of the trainers, gym leaders, etc. so that Glaceon could go against the same Pokemon that the other Eeveelutions have. There is a slight difference in some of the moves being different and the AI behaving a bit differently, but for the purposes of what we want to do, this will work. It was either this or just not be able to continue with the Eeveelutions. Let's go ahead and take a look at Glaceon from a stats perspective. The special attack is pretty good, and the defense and special defense isn't that bad either. Physical attack, speed, and HP is rough, but overall I think we'll be alright. If we look at the moveset, this seems to go off of the Sun and Moon learn set, but it's honestly not great. Mostly ice moves, and that's not surprising. Bite, a dark move. But the problem is that most of these go off of our pitiful attack stat, and then there just isn't much else. The only move that we learn by level up that would give us the same type attack bonus and going off our special is the inaccurate Blizzard, and we don't get that till way late in the run. Once we get to Celadon, I can at least purchase Ice Beam, and I think once we get that, we'll be in a lot better shape, but until then, well, we'll see what happens. But let's take a look at the rules. I can only use Glaceon in battle, but I can catch other Pokemon for HM use. I can't use items in battle, but I can use items in between battle. And then from there, we do allow rare candies to be ported in because I don't want to spend 3 hours grinding. We give our rival Charmander, since his Charizard will likely be the hardest for us to face, and we get started with the lab rival fight. We check our nature, and it's a rash nature, giving us a higher special attack, but lower special defense. We also have Snow Veil, which means that whenever it's hailing, we have a higher evasion. Ideally, this would actually be great for a final rival fight with Red, but in this game, it probably won't get too much use. With the opening rival fight, we trade attacks back and forth with the rival, occasionally using Growl to lower our already pitiful attack stat. However, since we just continue with our attacking, we do end up taking it down without too much of an issue. We go through the forest, and I'll be honest, grinding against wild Pokemon is rough. Given the fact that it can be randomized, we might fight a Pidgey, or we may fight an Arcanine, or a Giratina. We go through the forest and then head back to fight the optional rival fight. The rival opens with Pidgey, and it really just focuses on Sand Attack, but we do manage to take it out with a couple tackles. With Charmander, it's still a lot of tackling, and it uses Scratch once, Growl a few times, so we do manage to take it out without too much of an issue. After that, it's time to head back through the forest and into Pewter City to go and fight Brock. At level 13, we open with Sand Attack and do a quick attack for not very much damage. We also do a Tail Whip to lower its defense, and then spend a long time working through its health. By the time we manage to take it down, the Onix doesn't have much work to do. We try the same kind of strategy with Onix, sand attacking and tail whipping it, but ultimately it takes us down in one shot. We end up having to level up to 20, where we learn Ice Fang, which isn't too much of a surprise. We had to do this with a couple Eeveelutions given the movesets, and with the Geodude, we open with Ice Fang to take it to Red, as it lands a very weak tackle before we can take it out with Bite. When the Onix is out, we use Ice Fang, get hit with Rock Tomb, and since it lowers our speed, it hits us again with Rock Tomb before we could take it out to win the battle. We did try this a few levels lower, but due to Rock Tomb dropping our speed, and it being a pretty decent move, and super effective to boot, we honestly just kept losing, but now we're able to go ahead and move on. While we're traveling, it's at this time I'd like to say if you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Assuming my editing and script writing goes smoothly enough, which as of 8:40 p.m., this will be up Thursday, and that's the last Thursday of the year, so also happy 2024 to everybody. I have a Poliwag, Slowpoke, Leafeon, Totodile, and Cyndaquil run all planned over the course of the next month or so. Also, I think I want to do an Alakazam run, because if I'm being 100% honest, I've never been able to use one aside from Pokemon Stadium. Up until I did the Gengar run last Halloween, I had never been able to use it either. Either way, we make our way through the trainers to the right of the gym and get through Mount Moon. We can't use Mega Punch or Mega Kick, so we bypass that, and then we have a choice to make. We can either fight Misty, or we can fight the rival. So what we do is we choose to go to fight the rival, because as long as we can win that, we should be able to level up enough to be able to fight Misty. The rival sends out Pidgeotto first, and we use Ice Fang, which takes it out in a single shot. We bite the Charmander, and thankfully, rather than attacking, it just uses Growl a few times. This allows us to be able to take it out in a few bites without getting any damage dealt against us. With Rattata, it's basically the same process with it as well, using Bite as much as possible. For the most part, it just uses Tail Whip, and it only bothers attacking us once before we take it down with plenty of HP to spare. Abra's last, and we miss our first couple attacks, but after that, 2 bites are enough to take it down. We make sure to take on as many trainers to the north as possible so we can level up. I don't think Misty will be too much of a problem, and even with the Starmie, I think we'll be fine given the fact that we have Bite. Once we get there, we can take the Staryu down to red with an Ice Fang and a Bite as it uses Water Pulse on us. We do end up managing to take it down a few turns later. We hit the Starmie when it comes out, and it hits us all the way down to 4 HP with Water Pulse and confuses us, but we do manage to land a critical hit Bite to take it down and win the battle. And if I'm being honest, this took about 10 different attempts, whether we got confused or just didn't get a good enough damage roll. There were a lot of tries with this. After that, we can go ahead and head to the ship, and we don't fight too many optional trainers while we're there. It's not that I think Glaceon is going to perform in an amazing way by any means, but I think the worst is over for now. If I had to guess, Koga will probably be a bit of an issue, but given the fact that we can't learn any water moves, Blaine will be a huge issue. He has speedy Pokemon with good special attack, and while we have a good special defense, he's still going to be dealing super effective damage against us. But let's see how we do against the rival, because now that he has a Charmeleon, I have a feeling we're gonna have a bad time. The rival sends out Pidgeotto, and we get hit with a soft quick attack, but we take it down with 1 Ice Fang. Next up is Charmeleon, and we use Bite for about half, and get hit with Smokescreen. Another Bite takes it to low yellow, and we get hit with another Smokescreen, but Bite is still connecting, and that takes it out. Raticate, we connect with Ice Fang to take it to red as it uses Focus Energy, and then we finish it off with Bite. Last is Kadabra, and we use Bite but miss, get hit with Confusion, miss another Bite, get hit again, and on the third try, we connect with Bite to take it down and win the battle. After giving the captain a rub down and dismantling some trash can puzzles, we head back to fight Surge. Surge sends out Voltorb, and we open with Ice Fang to take it to yellow as it uses Screech. Surge heals up, and we use Bite for about half damage, swapping back to Ice Fang to then take it down, but getting paralyzed on its way out. Next up is Pikachu, and it uses Shockwave, and we stay paralyzed. Shockwave hits again, and we connect with Ice Fang to take it down. Last up is Raichu, and it uses Double Team, but we still connect with an Ice Fang to take it to about half. Shockwave hits for a bit, and we stay paralyzed. Another Shockwave connects, and we miss Ice Fang. Shockwave takes us down to 21 HP, and we miss again. The next Shockwave takes us to 4 HP, but we finally, mercifully connect to take it down for a narrow victory. After that, it's time for a good little bit of travel, and I'll say that Glaceon is not performing quite as well as I'd hoped. However, the thing that I will say is I think the first part of the game was where it's going to be the hardest for Glaceon. Coming up is Erica, Giovanni, and I hope that will allow us to breathe a little bit. After going through the game corner, it's time to take on Giovanni, and we open up with Barrier as it uses Smackdown. We then swap to Ice Fang to take it below half as we get hit with another Smackdown before the Onix goes down. Next up is Kangaskhan. It bites us and we flinch. It uses Double Hit for not so much damage as we use Ice Fang to not take much from its HP. Bite doesn't flinch and we bite back, then bite again. We trade some attacks back and forth and get it to red, and then use 2 Ice Shards to outspeed and take it down. Rhyhorn is last, so we swap back to Ice Fang to take it to yellow as it uses Bulldoze, lowers our speed, and then we use Ice Shard to take it down. Now, this is what I meant when I said the battles could be a little bit different. Normally, we have zero issues with Giovanni, but in this case, he was able to put up a little bit of a fight. And I'm sure you noticed that the moves Smackdown and Bulldoze are not typically things that he has in his arsenal. I'll try to keep this in mind when I'm thinking of how I quote-unquote rate these Pokemon, though it's far from any kind of professional rating. I think it'll still be fine. I don't think it affected the battle all that much. Oh hey, it's time to fight Erica. Erica first sends out Victory Bell, and we open up with an Ice Fang to take it to red as he uses Stun Spore. Phenomenal. We stay paralyzed, and Erica heals as we hit it to half with Ice Shard, staying paralyzed again. The next Ice Fang is a crit, which does take it out. Tangle is up, and we're already about half as it uses Ingrain, and we miss Ice Fang. Giga Drain hits a decent bit, and we take it to red with Ice Fang, and then use Ice Shard to finish it off. Last is Vileplume, and we get hit with Giga Drain down to 7 HP, and Ice Fang takes it to yellow. We thankfully don't stay paralyzed, and use Ice Shard to attack first to win the battle with another narrow victory. After that, we can go ahead, head back to the tower to face off against the rival, and we open with Ice Fang against Pidgeotto as it quick attacks us, but we take it down with one shot. Charmeleon is next, so we use Bite to take it to almost half and flinch it. Another Bite takes it to red as it uses Scary Face before using Dragon Rage, then we can take it down. Gyarados is up, and we make sure to set up Barrier because we don't want to take too many offensive hits. This way we don't get punished too badly throughout the majority of the battle. We hit Execute with Ice Fang, and thankfully it misses its attack before going down. Kadabra's last, and we get hit with Confusion before we take it down to win the battle. After that, we need to go ahead and do our typical travel through the Safari Zone, Cycling Road, etc., and then make our way through Koga's gym. Going up against Koga, you'll notice that we leveled up a bit, and also updated our moveset, but we had to level up. The battle wasn't even close before leveling up. Even here, at our current level, with a good moveset, you'll notice that due to Koga healing, we nearly go down to the poisoning. Before, though, we were getting dealt more damage, and with less HP, well, you do the math. However, for the purposes of this battle, it's essentially a one-move sweep. Muck keeps getting taken down to red and healed, and that's what allows the poison damage to rack up so much. But the coughing before him, the coughing after him, and the wheezing after that all go down in a one-shot to barely let us win the battle. With Koga out of the way, we can run over to Saffron, and yes, I did actually attempt this battle before when I first lost against Koga, and I also lost the footage. But I'm taking that as a positive because that hasn't happened in months. The rival first sends out Pidgeot, and we use Ice Beam to take it down. Charizard also goes down to an Ice Beam, which I'm actually kind of surprised. Even with our level, I figured that it would at least survive one shot, but maybe with it being part flying type, that's why. Aside from that, it's a one-shot sweep through the rest of his Pokemon. With Giovanni, we can also take him on a one-shot sweep train, but given our level that was required to get past Koga and the rival, Giovanni was almost guaranteed to be easy. Since they're out of the way, we can head to the gym and take on Sabrina. Kadabra goes down to a single Ice Beam, and the same can be said about Venomoth. Mr. Mime, one that I thought would survive a hit, also goes down. And then last is Alakazam, who is faster than us, but only uses a Future Sight as Ice Beam critical hits to take it down. I'm not 100% sure if the crit was needed, given our level, but it's also an Alakazam, so who knows. With this, it's now about time we go to who I believe is going to be one of the hardest parts of the game. Blaine being a fire user is kind of horrifying. So, with Blaine, he sends out Growlithe, and we use Ice Beam, since that's going to be our best attack, taking it to red as Growlithe uses Fire Blast for a good deal of damage. Blaine withdraws, oddly enough, as we use Ice Beam on the emerging Arcanine to take it to not even half, but we do freeze it. We swap to Bite as Blaine full heals, and then go back to Ice Beam, but Blaine heals up, unfortunately. We take it back to yellow thanks to a crit, and then Blaine heals up yet again. Another Ice Beam or two, and we take it back to red, as Fire Blast melts us into nothingness. Now, the surprising thing about this particular battle is not that we have to level up, but the fact that we don't have to level up all that much. All we need to do is fight the trainers in the gym and level up once, and with that, it takes the Growlithe down, and the same thing happens to Ponyta. With Rapidash, we take it to yellow as it hits us with Fire Blast, but then he swaps out to Arcanine. When he swaps, we can take the Arcanine to what looks like exactly half. For whatever reason, Blaine doesn't heal up when it seems like he has other times when Arcanine is at this health, and that makes it go down to another Ice Beam. After that, the injured Rapidash comes out, and it's just waiting for the man to run out of healing items before it too also goes down. We deny the Sevi Islands, because of course we do, and then head back to Viridian City. I have a feeling that this is going to be another one-shot sweep. Rhyhorn goes down to a critical hit Ice Beam, which I doubt was needed. Nidoqueen is out and goes down as well. Guess what? Same thing happens to the Nidoking as he gets let out. Next is the last Rhyhorn, and it also goes down to a single Ice Beam. And then finally is Dugtrio, and while that outspeeds us and hits us with a pretty weak Earthquake, we're able to go ahead and take it down and win the badge. We have one more battle before we face Lorelei. It's the rival, and he sends out Pidgeot first, and we take it out with a single Ice Beam. Charizard is next, and we get hit with Flamethrower for a lot of damage, all the way down to 33 HP, and we take it to red. We swap over to Ice Shard to then take it out. Gyarados is next, and we use Ice Beam to take it to red, and then Hydro Pump immediately takes us out. And, yeah, I have to level up again, because Flamethrower doesn't miss, and the AI is definitely going to keep selecting that, because why wouldn't it? It isn't a one-shot, but it makes it so that as long as another Pokemon either outspeeds us or survives a move, we can't get past him. And given that our attack is awful, we don't have too many options available, especially knowing that it's just not going to do much. At level 66, we take Pidgeot out in one shot. Charizard goes to red, and it still hits like a truck with Flamethrower, but we can then take it out with Ice Shard. Rhyhorn is always going to be an easy one-shot, goes down, and probably not surprising, Alakazam goes down as well. With the Gyarados, we hit it with Ice Beam and actually end up freezing it, then swapping to Ice Shard to take it down. After that, all that's left is a set of scrambled eggs, and they also go down pretty easy. With that, I have to admit, I am kinda horrified to go against the Elite Four, given the fact that Glaceon isn't performing super great. Its special is phenomenal, but everything else is kinda horrid. And unfortunately, that's not just Glaceon. I think that's going to be most ice types in general. I think that we're going to run into a brick wall with Lorelei, and I think Bruno, Agatha, and Lance are going to be a joke, partly due to type advantages and partly due to the level lead that we'll end up having. After that, I think the thing that's going to make this final battle make or break is if Fire Blast hits. Fire Blast hits hard, and if it does hit, we'll either be taken down immediately or very close, but let's go ahead and see how we do against Lorelei now that we've made it to the Elite Four. Lorelei sends out Dugong, and just watch the footage. We're nowhere near being able to take her on, given the fact that we, again, have a fairly weak attack, and our special attack involves having moves that she directly resists. So what we're actually going to do is go and get Return, which I think will help. Our attack isn't great, but the fact that Return is more powerful than any other attacking move that we have, and it's not one that Lorelei directly resists, I think should make at least a little bit of difference. With Dugong, we take it to about half with Return as it hits us with Surf. Now, due to the fact that we're level 80, we're not taking too much damage. Lorelei does end up healing, but then with 2 more returns, we can take it down. With Cloyster, we can take it to under half with Ice Beam as it uses Dive. While it's underwater and knowing we'll outspeed it, we do use Barrier just in case any of them use a physical move. And then we can take it out after a heal up. Lorelei sends out Lapras, and we use Return as it uses Confuse Ray. And then Lorelei swaps over to Slowbro as we hit it with Return. We then swap to Bite and take it to red as it hits us with Surf, and then we can take it down with another Bite. With Lapras, it's very much a back and forth battle with us using Return and it using Surf, and it does take us down to 44 HP before we can finally take it out. Finally, we're down to only having Jinx left, and we take it to red as it puts us to sleep. Thankfully, it can't do too much with Ice Punch, but it does bring us down to 35 HP before we wake up, thankfully push past the attraction, and take it down. Now that the champion of Ice types is defeated, we can move on to what I believe is going to be a pretty easy part of the Elite Four, even more so now. Bruno first sends out Onyx, and we use Bite to get rid of the Sturdy ability and manage to flinch it before taking it down. Hitmonchan hits hard, but we do take it down with one shot, and then we outspeed Hitmonlee and take it down. With Machamp, we take it well below half as the berry heals up and Cross Chop does some nasty damage, but a few Ice Beams later, we take it down. The last Onyx, we use Bite, get hit with Rock Tomb, but then take it out to win the battle. This actually took 4 times because the Onyx kept lowering our speed with Rock Tomb, and one speed drop is enough to let Hitmonlee outspeed us and Brick Break us into oblivion. We typically had a little bit of HP left, but then we couldn't get through the Machamp or the Onyx. Agatha is the third member, and Agatha sends out Gengar, and we take it out with one Ice Beam. From there, we do the same thing with every single one of her Pokemon, finally having an easy battle in this nightmare. Last up is Lance, and aside from the Gyarados, I think we stand a pretty good chance. Lance first sends out Gyarados, and Ice Beam takes it to red as it uses Dragon Rage. We crit a return as Lance heals, and then Lance heals again as we return, then take it down. When Aerodactyl comes out, we get hit with a pretty decent Ancient Power before taking it down with Ice Beam. After that, the Dragonite and the 2 Dragonairs are both easy one-shots, and that wins us the Elite Four, but there is one more fight to be won. The rival sends out Pidgeot, and we use Ice Beam to take it out in one shot. Next up is Charizard, and it uses Fire Spin for a surprising amount of damage as we use Ice Beam, which takes it to low red as the berry heals up. The rival heals, we hit it with Ice Beam again for what seems to be 1 HP remaining before the rival heals again, as Fire Spin continues to eat away at our health. With the next attack, we apparently get a high roll on the damage and take it down. After that, Rhydon comes out and we can take it down with one shot as well. Gyarados is out, and we Ice Beam it to take it to red as it uses Thrash for a good chunk of damage, and then we take it out. Alakazam is next, and it uses Psychic to take us to 4 HP as we take it out with a single Ice Beam. And then last but not least is Exeggutor, and we use Ice Beam, cross our fingers, and take it out for the win. Well, that run was definitely a bit different than I had anticipated, but overall I still had fun. Most of the Eeveelutions are kind of dealt a rough beginning of the game due to the fact that they don't unlock special attacking moves until at least level 16. I feel like to a degree, Glaceon may have struggled a little bit more than the others, at least until I got Ice Beam. Once it got Ice Beam and of course had a solid level lead, it didn't really have any issues until it came time for Lorelei. But at the end of the day, I am just doing these for fun, and there certainly isn't any kind of scientific value put behind it. Also, as always, big shout out to those who follow me on Patreon, and as that continues to grow, we'll continue to find new ways to improve it. And, as always, if you like the video, even if you didn't like the video, think about hitting the like and subscribe button, because it really does help me out. And until next time, everybody, peace out!